The Arsenal defeated Brentford at the G-Tech in the Carabao Energy Drink Cup with an interesting performance. Definitely strong defensively. I thought it was very similar as far as the progression of the game to the Spurs match. We were in control for about 30 to 35 minutes in that first half. Passing it around, looked decent. Got an academy player, a debut. Mr. Sago Jr. came in. I thought he was all right. Wasn't really in the game a whole lot. Had some good touches, made some good runs. Good to see. I loved that Emmy Smith Rowe got a start in this one.
It's about time.
Yeah, I would have expected more from him. I mean, I hoped he would have given a little bit more, but I thought he looked decent in flashes as well.
He was out of his element because he has been playing.
Yeah, he's so shocked that he got a start that he was surprised.
He walks into the locker room and looks at the team sheet. He's like, "Wait, I'm actually starting." What?
He goes into the office and he's like, "Did you make a mistake, Coach? Is this looks like a typo?" Yeah, no, but yeah, I was happy to see that. You know what? I'm going to say one thing about Kai Havertz, and then we're not even going to mention him because he was a ghost in this game again, and he just continually does the exact same thing he did at Chelsea for the past 3 years. And so until he does something different, I got no use for him. Whatever. I thought Kivior was good in the back. Definitely took advantage of his minutes. Tomiyasu looked good in the center defense. Is where he plays for Japan, so I was good to see that. I thought Aaron Ramsdale availed himself quite well after all of this drama with the Raya or Ramsdale. And it's interesting to me because if Ramsdale plays at Bournemouth, he will have had 2 games back-to-back. And before that, Raya will have had 2 games back-to-back. So if Ramsdale plays at Bournemouth and then Raya plays in France, it could be that Arteta is like, okay, who wants the City game? Show me. Who wants it? So who has the better performance?
That's
or
a rotation, but okay.
For me, it just feels like you're doing way too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It feels like a really weird little rotation.
But for Arteta, who has been trying to do too much, let's be frank, this season, you never know. Honestly, I think we're going to see Raya because I think Raya is the number one in Arteta's mind. And if that's the case, then yeah, that just is what it is. But I honestly feel like it's a great position to be in because it doesn't bother me who plays. To be honest with you, I think they're both quality. I think they've both had decent games recently. Fantastic save at the end there from Ramsdale to keep us in the game. Because in that second half, I thought that Brentford improved. I thought they put the ball down, were able to play. And we were under it a bit. We were up against it a bit, not unlike the Spurs game. And it's a tough place to go. And we rotated a lot. So I'm not I'm not unhappy with that, with the way we approached the game. Again, it was a very game management style. I will say that as scathing as I was of Arteta after the Spurs match, got to give him credit where it's due. This game, I thought he's gotten it spot on. I have no complaints. The subs, were decent. I thought they were timed well. Yeah, so I think Arteta definitely gets an A+ on this one.
A question about that. So, what makes you think what's the reasoning, or what do you think his mentality is going into this one? Because it seemed like it might have been an easier pick for him because it was a cup. Do you think that's why it was a little bit easier just to kind of do what he did?
No, I think Arteta is in full on like game management mode, in season management mode, and so he's thinking really deep on every single decision. And I think that with the injuries we had, I think that the lineup it was partly injuries and it was partly because he likes to rotate anyway. I honestly don't think that he expected Brentford to play nearly all of their starters. But you could also see that he'd taken it a little bit more seriously than last season because the likes of Jesus were on the bench, Odegaard was on the bench, and they did come into the game. Mm-hmm. Mo El Nini came into the game as well. I love to see that. And then as soon as he comes on, he's like firing long range shots. He's trying to score from 30 yards out.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. Because that's like the only minutes you're gonna get. Right. So I loved to see that. That was great. But it is encouraging that we can play, some of the backups, get some of this, kind of second team players some minutes and still, be resilient, still try to do the same kinds of things that the first team would do, where we, same things we'll do when we go to Brentford in the league. So good to see that. Must be said that they gave us the goal. I think we were Reece Nelson should have scored again in the second half. I think Smith Rowe should have scored again. So, the win kind of papers over the fact that we still aren't exactly what you'd call lethal in front of the net. But good to see the win in that green snot rag jersey. So far, away in the league, when we wear that green jersey, we win 1-0.
I'm sure you'll take that.
So I'll take that. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Absolutely. But yeah, good to get a win versus a strong team who've played their strongest team. And we move on. I think we got West Ham next away, so that's going to be a tough match. But he's taken that cup more seriously than he was last season. So I'm definitely excited to see that. And they were doing a discussion on AFTV where would you rather win this Carabao Cup match or win the game against Bournemouth at the weekend? And for me, it was an either or question. But for me, there is no question. It's the Bournemouth game. For sure. Rumor is Saka might be back in. Trossard might be back in. Martinelli might be back in. I think Rice will still be out. Partey obviously will still be out. But Partey might be back for City, which would be awesome. But yeah, I think away to Bournemouth, I don't think we can underestimate them. I think that we definitely need to not have our eyes ahead. I think that's what messed us up last time. City were on the horizon, that we kind of took our eye off of it because we were, had our eye on that game. I think that this 3 points is hugely important to still be within touching distance. And it's all going to be up to who's available, right? So it should be an open game. Bournemouth like to play. I didn't think, I want to talk about the difference between Arsenal away and at home. I've been puzzling over why we tend to lock the game down away from home, tend to have more control than when we're at home where we leak goals. And the conclusion I've come to is it's simple pressure. And I hate that this is what it comes back to for me, but we have crumbled under high pressure situations in recent times. Just last Sunday, high pressure situation, and we weren't at it. But then you turn around and it's the energy drink cup We've rotated half the squad, and we looked loose. We looked like there's not a lot of pressure, so so we're fine. We're fine with it. We play, and so at Bournemouth there won't be as much pressure. But away from home, I feel like the home teams generally have more pressure from the crowd to perform and to do good. And so I think there's more of a focus on controlling that aspect and try to keep the crowd quiet as well. And so when we kind of deaden the game and have control of the game, that tends to be the approach away from home. But at home, it's our crowd that's given the pressure, that's making all of the noise. And it's definitely, since the expectations have been raised so high, I think the guys kind of heap the pressure on themselves a little bit at home, and we've made some pretty poor mistakes and been punished.
I agree somewhat. I also think when you go on the road, it's a totally different mindset. It's an us against the world mindset. Because you're going into a stadium, depending on who you're playing, 40, 50, 60,000 fans against you. And, it takes a certain mindset to go out there and prove, like, hey, we don't care, how many of you are here. We're going to ruin your day. And that's one thing that I give City a lot of credit for, because that's their mentality when they walk in the door. Maybe they play with their food sometimes, but it's all about mindset. And when you're at home, you have that sense of relief in a way, I guess you would say. Because I don't know about y'all. This has been recently for me, so y'all may not feel the same way. But I've watched Chelsea games, and you could just hear you could hear the tension growing and growing and growing in the crowd towards the team, which then it rubbed off on the team. And when you're winning, everybody's celebrating, and it's easy to let off. Oh, we got this, we're good. But when you're on the road, you've got somebody against you the whole time. You can't let off, because as soon as you let off and they get a little bit of momentum, it's gonna avalanche on you. And I think that was why I was frustrated last year with y'all when you drew against West Ham, because it was like you let that just continue to build and build and build until it hit a crescendo. And, when we were talking about, title contenders and whatnot, you just saw the difference between City and Arsenal just in their road performances alone.
Yeah, I definitely feel you there. But as far as this one goes, I think that we should be able to handle them. We should be able to. We're good at keeping clean sheets away from home, so I've gone for another one, and I've gone for a dominant performance. I think that we can build on the Carabao Cup, and I think that we definitely need this one. I think they'll be up for it. I've gone for 3-0. Jesus should come back into the center. Hopefully, if hopefully he's learned his lesson, and it's Reece, Jesus, and Saka, or maybe Reece, Trossard, and Jesus. Who knows? It's real interesting to see. The fitness of Saka is going to be a big factor in the team selection. But I think we win this 3-0. Comfortable.
Sounds like it. I'm looking at this slate, and I think it's actually one of the harder slates to pick this season, just in general. Bournemouth at home on the South Coast, they look totally different. I think that, let's see, Spurs got a 2-0 there. We got a 0-0. I'm going to give y'all a 3-1, actually. Just because Bournemouth has come close against both, Chelsea doesn't matter, but they came close against Spurs. So I think there's something there. Solanke seems to be playing well. He just hasn't put the ball in the back of the net. How do I know that so well? But I think y'all win easily. But it may be one of those early goals again, that y'all give up, and then you refocus and you
We only do that at home, man.
Well, I know, but you're talking about a team who's kind of desperate, so I could see them, really. I mean, remember their first goal against Shaw, it was off of a free kick, and they had some weird free kick routine set up just for you, for them to go and score on, to start the game.
Which game was this?
I think this was the one that y'all came back and won at home.
No, we just gave them the ball 4 seconds into the game. But the second goal they scored, I think, is what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'll give them a goal just because. I mean, I don't think Arsenal lets off completely. I think more it's a focus of, all right, we're going to take care of business. But I'll give Bournemouth a goal. On the South Coast, we'll give them a goal. So 3-1 Arsenal.
Lame.
I
What
know.
you saying, City? Yeah.
I think I don't think Bournemouth has anything for them. I don't. I think Arsenal slap them, and it's 3-0. I don't see what they have for them. I don't see. I hear everything that Patrick is saying, and then reality says Arsenal's better than them.
Well, yeah, reality says that Arsenal is better than them. There's no question.
But I think they're going to play that way.
You think so?
I think they're going to. At some point, they have to.
I agree.
They have to. Because if they don't do it now, when are you going to do it?
Yeah.